So we'll now open the session with a karakia, and then it will be over to Peter Harris, our Manager Economic Development. Whakataka te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau ki te tonga. Kia mā kina kina ki uta, kia mā taratara ki tai. E hi ake ana te atākura, he tio, he huka, he hauhu, ti hei Māori ora.
Thanks, Phoebe. I'm Peter Harris. I'm the Economic Futures Manager, and within the Economic Futures team, we look after events. We are really aware that events are a really key part of what makes this district, an awesome place to live and visit. But also aware that it's a tough place to organise events at times. So, you know, if you're doing an outdoor event, it can go from pouring rain to 25 degrees in a matter of an hour. We've got limited venues. You know, there's been talk of conference venues and other venues over the years, but the reality is we've got less venues than we've got demand for them. And sometimes with those venues, to access them, we've got to bump out other people. So the community have to be inconvenienced by that. And I think the other thing that's happened over the last while is that we've got a changing expectations from the community around things like waste minimisation is a good example of, you know, 20 years ago, you know, disposable plates and those sorts of things were I guess acceptable. Those sorts of things aren't acceptable anymore. So this policy tries to, I guess, encapsulate what the community's expectations are around events. And also catch up with some really awesome strategy and plans that have happened over the last while. So, I mean, Giselle has been deeply involved in the creativity, culture and heritage strategies. I'm sure some of the others have as well. And there's a climate and biodiversity plan. So those things didn't exist when we did the event strategy at the start. And the other thing that the event strategy was very much focused on the economic benefit of events, which is absolutely still important, but what we're trying to do with the new policy is, I guess, just be more holistic about what the community expects and trying to line up the events we support with that. So the other thing that's been happening alongside the policy development is that Zoe and Ian have been doing an amazing job digging into the operational part of events for council. So how we support events behind the scenes. And I think it's really good to understand both of those things, because I think if they can both move forward together, that's really exciting. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to hear from Zoe about some of the operational work that she and Ian have uncovered and some of the work they're doing to improve it.
Thanks, Peter. Hi, everyone. So as Peter mentioned, we've been doing some work on a process improvement project in the event space. So by doing this, we want to improve your experience through the events process and how we connect with you. So what we're aiming to do there is to reduce the effort of both the applicant and QLDC for events, permits and bookings. So by doing this, we want to simplify the process for yourselves when you're applying for events and permits, and internally for QLDC for processing those requests. Some things that how this will sort of look in this space is that we'll look to reduce asking for the same information multiple times, moving to electronic forms and introducing an online booking and request system. We also want to ensure that what we require reflects the profile of the event. So if we think of health and safety, we legally have to meet our health and safety obligations. However, what we want to do is ensure that the requests are appropriate for the scale of the event, and the requirements, for example, for a small community event match what's needed versus a major international event that will require a lot more health and safety requirements. We also want to ensure that the decision making is clear and transparent and based on published criteria. So the events policy will guide event permission decisions, and for our assets such as our reserves, the decisions are guided by the reserve management plans, and for our venues, that's guided by our venue guides and other published information. So those are the reasons why we want to do it, but what does that mean for you and how does that look? So we want to introduce a single point of entry. So we want to reduce the number of entry points through QLDC. In regards to the website, we want to do some updates there that will make easy navigation, so you can find what you're looking for first time round. And for our inquiry forms, we have updated our venues request inquiry form, so we're asking for the right information first time, and we're also now looking at our our event inquiry form to make some further changes there. For guides, booklets and templates, I'm pleased to say that we're now live with our information-packed venue guides. So they give information on capacity, layouts, pricing, parking, and all relevant information needed to book that venue. And I will post the link in this chat, so you'll be able to have a look at those. And that picture there is just a picture of the Lake Hayes venue guide. So it just gives you a bit of a view of how that looks. We're also developing reserve guides. So these are in progress and will give similar information for the venues, but for reserves. So what you can do on reserves, what you aren't able to do, when you can book reserves, pricing, etc. And event organizer handbook. So this will be really good. We're creating a handbook here that will contain information that will support you in running an event in our district. It will contain information on what permissions may be needed, information on what will help when organising an event, and it will also give helpful templates and checklists. So we're really hoping there that that will support you going through the event process. And we're also going to introduce an IT tool by the end of this year, and that will support venue, reserve and event bookings. The tool will give you the ability to request bookings and event permissions online. It will also search and match results. So it will give you specialised results based on what information you enter. So if you have certain information or requirements for your booking, it will then pop up the venues that will match that booking. And it will also give you real-time availability of venues and reserves. So the same way you'd use an Airbnb app, for example, you can see what's available and what isn't for your specialised dates. That's the same as what this system will be able to do. And a calendar, so potentially giving us visibility of events booked in our district over a certain period of time. So there is a lot going on in the process space, and we're hoping that this will improve your journey with us. I'll post the link in for the venue guides, and as we produce our reserve guides, etc., they'll also all be available on the website. So I'm now going to pass you back to Jan, who will talk to the policy.
So just before Jan starts, I might just, so as Jan speaks, we're going to have some gaps for questions. And in terms of how to do that, if you want to raise your hand, there's the option at the top there with a little hand. You can raise your hand that way. Or the other way, which would be really good, is if you want to type into the chat. So if you go chat, push the chat button and then type in your question there. We'll try and address those as we go. We probably won't be able to dig into, if you've got a particular question about your event or a specific event, then probably the best way to do that is put the question in, but we probably won't be able to address that today, but we can come back to you and Jan or Phoebe can get in touch. So feel free to put things in the chat, and then I will try and sort of curate that and make sure that we've got some time for questions. Jan, sorry, I just thought it would be useful for people to know how to ask questions.
Thanks, Peter. And thank you to everyone here today. I'm making the assumption that you have had a chance to have a look at the draft policy, as it has quite a bit of detail and we're just going to really cover quite a light coverage today. But as Peter said, there's an opportunity to ask questions today. There's also opportunities through the Let's Talk feedback page, which doesn't close until the 7th of March. So there's plenty of time if you just want to listen today and then you think later on, oh, I wish I'd asked that question, or I wish I'd given that feedback. Please be confident knowing there's still other opportunities there. Right, so our draft policy has been a piece of work that we have undertaken. We had previously an event strategy, which was well overdue being reviewed. We have moved into the policy space, and the events policy covers public and private events that use council, parks, reserves, venues, but also private events if they require council permission. So that would be both community and commercial events. So the parts of the policy that continue to influence private events will be the waste and carbon emission reduction, noise level and environmental effects. So they align with the resource consent process, which is something that our district plan requires. Moving on to our set of objectives. So we have 8 objectives. The top 3 here that are highlighted in blue are the 3 that are a given. These, there is a scale within these, but we are expecting events that come into our district, that happen in our district and come and want permissions to be taking these 3 objectives on board. First one being ensuring the safety of all event participants, workers, residents and audiences. So that's your health and safety plan, and the majority of you already provide us with robust and clear health and safety plans. And again, we get feedback from smaller groups, and we have taken this on board, and we have had available for a couple of years now templates that help assist with this process. And so, as mentioned earlier, when you are running a bigger event, we are obviously going to expect bigger and more robust health and safety plans. Second one is respect of our statement of diversity, equity and inclusion. So that really allows us to, if you can look at it more from, we don't want events here that disrespect that. So it really allows us to control who uses our venues in a safe way. So that is that it doesn't impact on our community, that everybody is welcoming and that everybody's beliefs and understanding are not threatened. So it allows us to control that. The third one is minimising the adverse impact of events. So this is our sustainability and carbon reduction. And again, sorry, someone's just ringing me. Sorry about that. So that is again around the impact that an event of any scale might have on our environment. So we again have worked very closely with our waste reduction team and our climate action to create a template that assists event organisers in providing the information. Sometimes it triggers a need that you're not aware of, and but we are more than happy to help you with this process, and so are both those teams. So if there's something that you are just getting into that space and you want some assistance, please do reach out to us. Our events at QLDC email address is the best one, and then we can sit down and we can go through the templates and assist you with this process. The fourth one is maximising local economic benefit, and by using local suppliers and organisers. And again, this one has a scale within it as well. We understand that some of our bigger events sometimes struggle with the infrastructure in our district, and therefore there is and can be times where the equipment or the skill level is just not here. But where it is, we really, really encourage you to use our local suppliers and organisers. That shows a demand, and there could be the opportunity then for local businesses to invest in more of a particular item if we find that it's something that everybody would use, and therefore it would be ideal to have it based here. But come and talk to us about that one if you have particular items or supplies that you have to use. We're not saying that's a complete no, but if it's available here, we would like you to use it. And our next, so these are our community building objectives, and they're fairly self-explanatory. We want events that bring people together in a way that create positive sense of community, and that again has a scale within it. We want opportunities for residents and visitors to participate and attend events. And the second to last, respect and celebrate kaitahi, is around an opportunity to embrace our culture and heritage, and that knowledge we are pulling into the handbook as well. So we're hoping to have contact details for people that might be able to assist you in the space, but it could be something as simple as thinking about, can you start your event with a karakia? Can you involve any other cultural experiences within your program? Can your signage be in te reo? There's lots of very simple things, and we're going to, in the handbook, provide you with some suggestions that can help you to meet some of these objectives. And the last one here is about protecting and celebrating our unique identity. Our district is a very special place. It has a unique landscape. There are often events held here that possibly are unique to here. And we have to make sure that part of our objective is to make sure that all of this is captured in our processes, and it is about protecting, because as Peter pointed out, we are often restricted in what is available at certain times of the year. We are in alpine climate, therefore some of our spaces are not usable every month of the year. So, and we have to make sure that we put in place those protections so that the months that they are available are there for everybody to use and enjoy. So those are our 8 objectives. I think they're reasonably clear, and I would like to sort of open it now to anybody with the first 4. Is there anything that you're still not clear on with any of those 4 objectives? Please either raise your hand or pop a question into the chat. No, thank you. And if we can move on to the next 4, just to go back, those community building objectives. Does anybody require any further explanation or clarity? No? Thank you. So these are the principles. Again, they help us in our decision making. I will let you know that with the funding coming up again in April, we're not planning to make any major changes to the funding criteria or process. This policy will go through to council if everything goes according to plan in June as well, and then moving forward, that is when we will very much focus on these objectives. Many of them are already part of our process, but it was not clear to everyone in the old strategy what we were looking for. So this allows us to align with a number, if you have had a look at the policy, a number of other policies and strategies that did not exist when we undertook the original strategy. So it's really just bringing us up to date and making sure that we meet a majority of our other strategies within this policy. And I think the work that Ian and Zoe have done, the last one there about our communication and customer service has been picked up, and there's an amazing piece of work being done in that space, and we continue and will continue to do that. At our hui on Tuesday, there was some mention around sharing of resources, by a number of event organisers, more than happy to share their knowledge, their equipment and things. So I think the handbook is an ideal opportunity to start pulling some of that information together. And that will be a living document, because things will arrive, such as our water trailers, for example. A lot of people still not aware that we have now two, one in Wanaka and one in Queenstown. So again, having the opportunity to share that information so everybody's on the same page. Thank you. And they were the questions there. I'm happy to ask them again. If there's anything in the policy you're not clear on, please take the opportunity either now in the chat, on the Let's Talk page, which is open until the 7th of March, or please either reach out to either Phoebe, myself and the events team to ask a question. We're happy to meet with you, or use the events at QLDC email and come back to us. If you think there is something we've completely missed, or you don't feel should be part of this draft, again, we're open to that feedback. So please, you know, we appreciate everybody's honesty and the ability. Sometimes when you're deep in something, the obvious things don't pop up to you. So we're more than happy to take on board any extras or delete things. And I think if we don't have any questions, Phoebe, I'm not sure.
Any general feedback, because I
Yes.
know some of these people on this call and they're not short of an opinion. I'm sure that some of you have got some feedback. It can be positive too. No,
We've
all good?
stunned them. We've stunned them, Peter, into silence. No, look, just think it's a moving beast running events if you're involved in that world. So there's lots of moving parts. And I think through the review and the policy, there is pretty much every part of council that is involved at times in events. So it's been a big piece of work pulling not only the policy, but the process work behind the scenes. So yes, if there's some part of your event that you're struggling with, please do reach out to us and we can hopefully help you navigate that. Funding round opens on the 1st of April, closing on the 30th of April this year for events from the 1st of July this year till 30th of June next year. And therefore those applications will go live through Smarty Grants. So if you haven't applied before, you can take some time now to register with Smarty Grants. The form is online and available to apply. And thank you to everyone for coming along or being a part of today's online hui. As we said, we've recorded it. There was a few people that couldn't make it for any of the dates. We are in Wanaka next Tuesday in the morning. So if you come across someone that wasn't aware of what we're doing and they're interested, please do let them know. We'll get the recorded session here up online, and we really just appreciate your time and efforts today and the support. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Jan.
Thanks, Jan.
I'm just going to close with a karakia. Kua mutu a mātou mahi mō tēnei wā. Mana katia ngā mātou katoa. O mātou hoa, o mātou whānau. Ai o ki te arangi. Kia ora.
Thank you.